Indian society and comparison with foreign countries. The countries of the world were able to progress because the ideological yeast there long ago he had just started getting up. In Germany, Martin Luther asked the Pope and his representatives was challenged in the 16th century itself. He said, "We would have hanged the thief. If they killed the thugs with the sword, then the main causes of degeneration, Pope, and why not punish the priests with all kinds of punishments? If the fire is present someday, I will burn all the rules of the Pope." Luther called for reducing the number of existing monasteries by 10% should. If the occupants of these are not satisfied with the benefits received, they should break ties with them. Should have freedom. Luther explained to the people that daily pilgrimages and religious holidays there is loss of work. This causes financial loss. Luther's companion Houghton had told the emperor, "Abolish the post of pope. The entire property of this Dharmasantha should be mixed in the state, and out of 199 priests should be thrown out, considering them useless. That's the only way to get rid of the German clergy and their evils. To confiscate their property with this, the state will be confirmed. Its economic condition will improve, and with that money the army will be, the country can be protected by making it powerful." After all, Luther burned all the rules of the Pope. Also in England his Protestant vote started entering. Henry VIII in 1534 AD by the Parliament, the Pope's was cut. He appointed the king as all the priests and gave the right to retain the amount which the first pope was sent to Rome. Also taking this oath for every employee of the state, it was made mandatory that he would not accept the papacy. Henry sent inspectors to investigate the religious condition of the monasteries. The abbot was lazy and wicked. When the property of small monasteries was confiscated, these contractors of religion, saints, maents, etc., got the rebellion started. The king or the abbot put to death those who had participated in this rebellion. Their property was confiscated. Out of fear, others also accepted that we are miscreants, and they handed over their monasteries to the king. All the materials of the monasteries were sold. The land was either taken over by the king or sold. Along with the destruction of these monasteries, even those ancient idols of religious temples were destroyed. Those who were blessed by the Pope were destroyed. Even in churches the colored glasses were also broken, as they often contained idols. Election by breaking the ancient custom of will appoint. Many unprecedented steps were taken in this matter. Mahatma Sage of Canterbury, the idol of Thomas, was demolished and the bones of him Mahatma were burnt. Wales, I used to worship an idol of wood. To break it and burn such a sage, one who disobeyed the king and obeyed the Pope, was. In this way, only after being freed from the clutches of the religious leader and dethroning him, England could make progress in science. Late 18th century and 19th century, the Industrial Revolution that took place there in the early decades was the fruit of the same ideological and religious revolution, the seeds of which were sown in the last 16th, 17th centuries. In the 19th century, in many countries of Europe, independent thinkers, scientists, inventors, etc. were harassed. They all reach England, and be fearless taxes were able to carry forward their work. Because there was ideological freedom, there was no squeamishness. The last century of those who believed in Marx's ideas until 1990 ruled over half the world. That too by coming to England he was able to reach his epoch-making thinking to its logical conclusion. Marx, he had to leave Germany and go to Paris in 1843. When he was fired from there, then he came to Brussels. But when he was expelled from there also, he came to London in 1849 and stayed there for the rest of his life to complete his research work. This is an example. More such examples can be given. It is worth mentioning here that England did not even become a slave to Protestant religiosity. Rather, it became the birthplace of secularism across the world. The first use of this word secularism was by Jacob Holyoake in 1851, and made it a movement. Birth of secularism. Remember, Holyoake's secularism is our Indian secularism. Was not. This is actually pseudo-secularism. Real secularism, intervention of a supernatural being, including God, in the solution of worldly problems, or does not acknowledge its relevance. That's why it's supernatural. It is believed to be a principle prohibiting religion based essentially on powers. Dr. Veda explaining Holyoake's secularism. Prakash Verma writes, on the basis of the above discussion, we can say that secularism is a special type of humanistic philosophy of life that deals with religion and ethics, education, politics, administration, law, etc., while prohibiting spiritualism. Completely independent of these two, and who considers man as supernatural or divine. Instead of relying on powers, by giving inspiration to become completely self-reliant, paves the way for his personal and social welfare. Theology. Original Problems of Revised and Enhanced Editions, p. 492. Holyoake rationalized the atmosphere of England through secularism, if mad scientifically minded, free from fanaticism and tolerant of opposing views. Bradlaugh contributed to freeing the laws from the clutches of religions. With his efforts, he got rid of the compulsion to take oath in the name of God and got the Oaths Bill passed, so that those who do not believe in the power of God, it became possible for him to take oath in the name of integrity. It was in such an environment that Darwin's epoch-making theory of evolution developed. Maybe, which shook the strings of the traditional thought of the whole world. Such an environment has never been created in India. That's why coming here no foreign thinker and scientist ever expressed the desire to settle down. This, unlike India's top minds, which touch the top by going abroad, they utterly fail to touch her in India, though it is sung that here that the earth is touched by the feet of the sages, Purana fakers, gurus, etc.